Прийшли окупанти до нас в Україну, форма новенька, воєнні машини, та трохи поплавився їх інвентар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російські танкісти сховались в кущі, щоб лафтем посьорбати довбані щі, та трохи у чах перегрівся навар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Приперли зі сходу до нас барани для восстановлення
великої страни.
Найкращий пастух баранячих отар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Їх доводи всяке озброєння різне, потужні ракети, машини залізні, у нас на всі доводи є коментар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Вони захопити хотіли нас зразу, а ми зачаїли на орків образу з російських бандитів, робить примар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російська поліція справи заводить, там вбивцю рашистів ніяк не знаходить, хто винен, що в нашому полі глухар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Веде пропаганду кремлівський урод, слова пропаганди ковтає народ, тепер нове слово знає цар.
Байрактар.
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 Yes.
The Leaf Spring Army sends its regards.
Hello everyone, I'm the Enforcer, and I'm accompanied by Enforcer Matt.
And good evening, everybody. It's Enforcer Matt. Welcome back to day 301 of the stream, and we have some big news tonight.
And of course, we have massive news to cover tonight. Really everything's about Zelensky tonight. But before we begin, I have to say a couple of things. Starting off with what happened on Sunday with the fundraiser was absolutely incredible. The last we checked, that fundraiser raised $8.3 thousand in support of revived soldiers of Ukraine, which helps soldiers to be rehabilitated from terrible injuries and wounds that they suffer on the front lines. And I gotta thank each and every one of y'all so much once again, and there's Matthew that yeehaw, so much once again for making that possible, because if it wasn't for y'all, those fundraisers would never be able to blow through their goals and be able to help out so many people like we've been doing this entire war. The second thing is that I feel, well, I don't want to be over dramatic about it, but I don't feel great at all tonight. I have a very bad headache, and I also feel like I'm about to pass out and faint any minute now. So with that in mind, I'm not really sure how long this stream will be tonight. I may actually have to cut the news short if I don't feel any better as the stream goes on, but rest assured, if you send in a super chat, we will get to it, and we will try and get to the major pieces of the news. So we're going to not be going around from theater to theater, place to place. We're going to be hopping around and covering the most important news first, and then getting to everything else later, just in case if I have to cut the stream short. So in advance, sorry about that if that does happen, but let's get into the first bit of major news that we saw, which was that President Zelensky actually visited the front line in Bakhmut and actually awarded a whole bunch of soldiers medals, of course, talked to them, told them all kinds of great things. It was incredible. And so I'm going to let y'all see the clip we have of it. And there's, of course, loads, many pictures, many videos of him being there for a while. But absolutely incredible to think that the president of Ukraine, I guess you could say public enemy number one as far as Russia is concerned, was just about 2 miles away from the front line during this video right here. And so with that, here's the clip.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні присутні, шановні панове офіцери, військові, наші герої. Маю честь бути сьогодні тут. Хочу привітати вас, подякувати, кращих нагородити і дещо попросити. Перш за все, хочу вас привітати, особливо тих, у кого є діточки. Вчора був День Святого Миколая. Вважаю, що ваше сонце – це наші діти, сяяли саме для вас, щоб вони вас мотивували обов'язково вижити і захищати ваші сім'ї, наші сім'ї, всю нашу державу, і це значить майбутнє ваших дітей. Я хочу вам подякувати за те, що ви зберегли найголовніше – землю, бажання жити, Україну, наш прапор, наші кольори. Ви абсолютно героїчні люди. Я хочу вам сказати, тут на Донбасі ви захищаєте всю Україну. Тому що після Донбасу вони все це зроблять і на інших містечках, в інших містечках нашої держави, бо вони не хочуть нічого українського. Я впевнений в цьому 100%. І тому на ваших плечах захист не Донбасу, а захист всієї України. Я вам бажаю тільки міцності, з якою ви зараз живете і перемагаєте. Збережіть, будь ласка, і стійкість свою, бо історія пам'ятає тільки переможців, тільки сильних і сміливих. Я вам цього відкрито, від серця, від душі бажаю. Мотивуйте, хто поруч, хто слабкіший буває. Особливо є мобілізовані, молоді люди. Зрозуміло, це важко, але бережіть свою міцність.
With that, hadn't seen that video, but it was absolutely incredible to see that he was on the front line addressing the soldiers who were fighting in that town every single day. And what's absolutely incredible is that, I don't know if you heard it, Matthew, but there were these booms going off in the middle of the video. They would go boom. You know what that was?
Artillery.
That was the sound of artillery just about 1.5 miles away landing on the front lines. That's how close they were to it, is that you could occasionally hear the sound of the actual battle going on in the background. You've got to give someone a lot of credit for doing something like that. We have never seen Putin even step foot once into occupied Ukraine anywhere to either congratulate his soldiers on the job that they're doing or to try and rally morale at all for their people. He has never done that once. And this is just one of the many times that Zelensky has visited the frontline soldiers who are actually fighting and sometimes dying to defend the country and talk to them for a little while. And I think that's absolutely incredible to see. And it shows how much of a leader Zelensky really is when compared to the likes of Putin, who pretty much just hides in the Kremlin his entire life. Speaking of hiding in the Kremlin, it appears that the Kremlin gremlin will remain to stay in the Kremlin. Meanwhile, tomorrow, and I didn't even get time to include this on tonight's news, Zelensky is traveling to the United States at this very moment, most likely, to meet with the President of the United States tomorrow. This is massive news. It's actually the first time, if it does happen, that Zelensky has ever traveled outside of Ukraine for any occasion, in any instance, and it's even rumored that he'll be addressing the United States Congress, or the House of Representatives, tomorrow as well. And so if that does happen, we'll of course be reporting it, but still absolutely incredible to hear, and really cool to think that he'll be somewhat close to us. This is the closest that Zelensky will ever get to us running this channel. So of course, hope that he drops by down here. But with that, we're now going to be moving on from the news in Bakhmut and seeing that Zelensky arrived, and we're now going to be moving down towards Crimea, because one thing that everyone's always asking about is, can Ukrainians hit Russian forces in Crimea? And we largely say yes, but no in other instances. We have seen, for example, in the areas that are marked completely black, that the Ukrainians have hit Russian airfields and completely destroyed them. But we've never really seen them hit land forces inside of Ukraine, such as the Russian army, until today at the Chongar Gap. This little area right here, this peninsula, is where the Russian forces drive most of their convoys towards the area of Melitopol and Tokmak and up towards the area of Zaporizhia. And we saw last night a little bit of a glow out there and some bright flashes of light, which suggested to us that an entire convoy was being lit up by a Ukrainian missile attack. And so here's the video.
Машину подорвали. Короче, колонну. Похоже, что-то попало. Или ракета, или что-то не знаю. Короче, на чонгарской границе.
We see the burning convoy out there.
Короче, доставать, блядь, до перешейка нахуй. Все пиздец. Вон горит уже одна. Фух. Больше я сюда нахуй не поеду. Все. Еле успели машины. Еле машины успели разогнать. Вон бахает. Это вот. Вон что. Короче, все нахуй. С этой хуйней, с этим Симферополем я завязал, как хотите. Я больше сюда не поеду. Все, вот. Короче, стояли, легли спать. Границу прошли, легли спать. Вот. Крики, нахуй, взрыв, блядь. И пиздец, вот машина горит, нахуй, одна. И там пару взрывов еще было в поле.
Meanwhile, while this convoy is burning in the distance, whoever's filming is reading the Christmas Carol.
Вот, так что все, я больше нахуй. В Симферополь я больше хуй поеду. Так что вот так вот.
With that, that's the end of the video, but once again, a pretty interesting look at what's supposedly a convoy burning somewhere in the Chongar Peninsula, and once we get more video reports, we can actually assess what kind of damage has been done. At this moment, we're not sure if the convoy was hit, the bridge was hit, or something else in the area that was related to the convoys and the military infrastructure of the Russian army, but whatever was hit in that area shows that the Ukrainians have the ability to strike deep into Russian territory, not just with cruise and ballistic missiles and I guess you could say kind of like guided drone missiles like we saw the Tu-141s being used against the strategic bombers. They may have other kinds of ordnance that are cheap enough to use that they can strike this short range of a distance away from the front lines, but also somewhat far into it. But with that, we're now going to be moving out of Crimea and from that really interesting news and moving on up into Russia because, you know, we always got to get to Russia. Russia is always an interesting thing in its own right, I guess you could say, and we saw an ad today like no other. It's actually pretty insane. They're running ads to the poor people in Russia and telling them that they can get out of poverty if they sign up and fight for the Russian military. And so here's the video. Y'all aren't going to believe this. I'm just going to let it play, the music, everything, the subtitles. Y'all will see what it says. It's insane. He's getting some bread. He's getting something else. He's getting hot dogs. I thought they hated the West. Why is he getting hot dogs if they hate the West? What's he going to do? Have a little barbecue? Like, no comment there, I guess. He's got no money. He's broke. Meanwhile, the little diddly piano plays behind him like it's a vaudeville. Now you see he's cleaning a cheap Lada.
Что делать? Выставляй на продажу.
Oh, and he's having to sell the Lada. They're gonna get 20 bucks for it.
Дед, ты что тут стоишь? Мне никто не звонил? Завтра в обед придут. Ну ладно.
Дед, долго еще? Мне вообще-то ехать надо.
Да, конечно, извините.
Значит, сразу говорю, 30-ку больше не дам.
Как 30? В объявлении же 60 было.
Дед, ты свою машину видел?
30. Ну мы же договаривались.
Это корыто старше меня.
30 не могу. Мне 60. Очень надо.
Либо 30, либо ничего. Даю минуту подумать.
Oh man, this guy's hardballing him.
Ладно. Делать нечего.
Oh well, nothing I can do.
Дед!
Саша?
Не надо нашу ласточку продавать. А вас я более не смею задерживать. Вы, конечно, извините за беспокойство, но свой шанс вы уже упустили.
Oh, spit at his feet.
Я контракт подписал.
Oh, Matthew, look! They're okay now. He said, Grandpa, I signed the contract. Now we are surely going to be okay. Now, I mean, Matthew, I don't think... I don't know, Matthew. There's a little bit of irony here, considering that he signed up in the military to make sure that they can keep the Lada. I thought Russians signed up to join the military so that way their family could get a white Lada. Of course, after their passing.
You know, you could kind of interpret this to be really dark if you wanted to. Like, this guy's basically signed his life away and sacrificed his life so his grandpa can keep the Lada.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's how they're starting to try and appeal to people to make them join the Russian army. Hey, don't lose your shirt. Go join the army and maybe you can keep a little bit of it.
Теперь уж точно не пропадем.
And he's so happy. He's so happy. And with that, that's the end of the video. But once again, the Russians are back at it with the crappy ads that really do not make you want to join the military. But at the same time, it makes you pity the fool that would really fall for that ad and go join the Russian army. Go get killed so that way his dad can get a chocolate cake or some water park tickets. With that, we're going to start moving further into Moscow, where we can see that a Russian official said the craziest stuff. I'm going to let y'all watch this. We'll go after it after y'all see it and hear it. So here's the video.
Призываем к разуму, призываем задать себе вопрос, какой смысл России на кого-то нападать. Призываем вспомнить историю, но, скажем так, с историей все-таки у них на Западе, как мы убедились недавно, не очень хорошо, но напоминаем, что Россия на протяжении всей своей истории никогда ни на кого не нападала.
Wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm a history major, but apparently the West is teaching me wrong, guys. You see, Russia has never attacked anyone in all of their history. They have never fought an offensive war ever. Ever. Never. Never. Never in their life have they ever declared war and tried to invade someone for one reason or another. So let's see how many of those wars I'm wrong about. We'll start off with the one I'm thinking about the furthest back. The Russo-Japanese War. I believe the Japanese were the ones who actually started this one. Or it was Russians. But I'm wrong. It's the West that's lying to us. You see, the evil Americans, they want you to think that the Russians actually were the ones who started this war because of one reason or the other, but it was actually the Japanese guys. Well, let me go look at another one. The Soviet-Afghan War. I think the Afghans actually invaded Russia during this one, Matthew, and that's what started the war. Or it could have been the Russians invading them to try and install a communist regime, one or the other. Let's see, what else? the Winter War, I think that one was actually started by the Finnish. The evil Finnish, you see, they were trying to invade Finland. Not Finland, they were trying to invade Russia because they wanted Stalin gone. And poor Stalin, as nice and kind of a person he was, never hurt a fly. He would never think about hurting his own citizens. You see, he actually had to fight back. You know, he didn't want to go into that war. Not at all. You know, maybe another one. The Soviet-Polish War. Yeah, I don't think the Soviets started this one either. I think it was actually the Polish that started this one because, you know, for one reason or another, they just wanted to have a little bit of fun, so they went to war. I think that's the main reason why. Yeah, let's see, we're at the Russians are 4-0 with us right now. All 4 of these wars, they say that they never attacked anyone in. All 4 of these that I'm giving y'all examples of, and these are just a few, you can list off 100 of them, are ones where the Russians declared war on someone and invaded them to either try and conquer them. Well, actually, all of these were to conquer something. The Russo-Japanese War was to try and control Port Arthur in Manchuria. This one was the Soviet-Afghan War was to install a puppet government in Afghanistan. The Winter War was to try and annex all of Finland, like they're trying to do with all of Ukraine. And the Polish-Soviet War is a war where the Soviets tried to invade Poland and take it over and turn it into another Soviet republic. So we just looked at all of these, and it appears that this man may be somewhat wrong. It appears that, historically, the Russians actually have attacked people, and now he's going to lie, and he's going to say, not only did we not attack Ukraine, we've never attacked anyone in our whole history, and the West is just lying to everyone if you think otherwise. And then, you know, there's probably someone out there that's slurping up that Kool-Aid and actually believes that to be true. I don't know who it would be. I feel sorry for him. But with that, we're going to be moving on from that little clip and on into the next one in Russia, because the brain rot, it's got to get in there nice and good. So we're going to be moving to the south of Russia, south of Moscow, where we can see some more Russian thinking. And of course, got to give credit. I believe this was done by the 1420 channel. Let me check real quick. Let's see here. It's taking a second for it to load. All right.
Our internet's being kind of finicky tonight.
It is being really finicky, and on top of how bad I'm still feeling, and now I feel hot and everything too, and the fan's running full speed. I mean, like, it's I'm sorry, everyone. It's not panning out to be that great of a night. But I'm going to let this play for a second, and while y'all listen to these Russian people and what they think about the war and what's going on, I'm going to go and tend to something real quick. So I'll be right back while this plays.
Ой, да в этой России здесь то-то. Ты что здесь сидишь? Собрала манатки, иди туда, где лучше.
Хочу, да, чтобы ввели полностью военное положение во всей России.
Потому что те же самые базы биологического оружия нашли на Украине.
Думаете, украинцы захотят с нами соединяться после такого?
Должны. Ради людей, чтобы мир на земле был, они должны.
Смотрите новости, вообще интересуетесь происходящим сейчас в мире, в России?
Если только из интернета.
Только из интернета.
Какого конкретного